All right. So when you hear about the med spa industry, in the past there's been some degree of taint to it, unfortunately. But meanwhile, if we look at what consumers are doing, they're moving toward non-surgical procedures, and that market is actually growing exponentially. So the question is, how can we provide consumers with the information they need to trust and choose a med spa, and reward the practices for being transparent about their quality? Now this is decided it's not going. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about Real Patient Ratings. We were founded in 2011 to address the needs both of consumers and physicians for reviews from real patients. And our value proposition is that the only reviews we offer are 100% verified reviews that can be deeply trusted by consumers. Other than efficacy, the other issue in the current review environment is that many practices lack the quantity of reviews to reflect how busy the practice really is. And the problem is that the fewer reviews, the less statistically valid the rating is. And so if you have a negative rating, it's going to impact a negative review, it's going to impact your overall rating much more if you only have 5 reviews than if you had 100 reviews. So you need a lot of reviews, and you need them available in real time. You need quantity, quality, freshness, and frequency. In these days of social media, new user-generated content is particularly valuable both to consumers who use them to make buying decisions and to search engines who are crawling over your website looking for unique, fresh content that is posted frequently. There is a great deal of data that shows that consumers buy more quickly when reviews are present on product or procedure pages. This is the driving thought behind Real Patient Ratings and the overriding theme for today. Consumers have many choices. Smart practices adjust the way they sell to the way that consumers want to buy. There is both competitive advantage as well as protection from diminishing sales if you understand what consumers want and proactively provide it. There is no need to spend time arguing about whether this is right or not, the consumer shopping process. It's simply an ever-growing phenomena that you need to use to be relevant to today's perpetually connected consumers. So let's talk about the use of reviews. In 2011, when we founded Real Patient Ratings, Pew Research said 12% of medical consumers might look at reviews as a part of their research. In 2014, 3 years later, Bright Local reported an astounding 88% of consumers use reviews as a part of their buying process. Our spa surveys still show only about 50% of customers using reviews, but like review use overall, we expect that percentage to increase dramatically over the next few years. Now here's some facts on conversion. 70% of Americans say they look at reviews before taking the next step to conversion. Another correlating study, 70% take action after reading consumer opinions online. So what does this tell us? It tells us that reviews are a conversion strategy. Many consumers start by researching procedures. Others start by researching providers. We survey and post reviews both for procedures and providers so that we can meet the consumer need in whatever their preferred buying process and shopping process is. Now, here's another way to look at how reviews help your site to differentiate. So I would suggest you go, and if you haven't done so recently, look at the sites of what you consider to be your key competitors and see, are they using reviews, or do reviews provide you either a novel competitive strategy for some period of time, or are they absolutely necessary for you to catch up with what's happening in your marketplace? Ideally, you want your site to be as unique as possible. And it's hard to make the things we all say about Botox or laser treatments very unique. But what our patients specifically say about these treatments is completely unique, and that's why we want it on our websites. Now, how do we get reviews? We survey your patients. In the Medspa package, we provide an overall profile page for the business, and then we provide individual profile pages for each of the providers. And here's an example of what happens on a search for any provider. And we see this much more frequently with the Medspa providers than with physicians, that we come out #1 on a review search for the practitioner's name plus the word reviews. Reviews are the new advertising, and I think that while many people put reviews in a reputation management bucket, that is really the wrong place. They are a form of marketing, and the most powerful new form of marketing that I've seen since the advent of the internet, and I don't mean to exaggerate that. I think it's that powerful. So we're going to offer you now 9 ways to market with reviews, to expand beyond how you might possibly be using reviews now. And you may find that you're already doing some of these strategies that we're going to suggest, but we hope to provide you from some new ideas as well. When you're marketing with reviews, you are letting your patients tell prospective consumers about their experience with your brand. What they say is much more believable than anything you say about yourself. And indeed, reviews are 12 times more believable than the content provided by the practice or manufacturer. So for our first step, let's move to social media and talk about how we can use reviews in social media. And I'm going to go up here to Dr. Jen Walden, who's tweeting about a review and has taken pictures of 2 reviews, so she's not limited by the character numbers in a tweet. Dr. Vanek down here has taken something handwritten by a patient, taken a picture, and he has posted that on Facebook. Dr. Kat here is actually the only practice that we can find who is posting reviews on Instagram. So that offers still another opportunity for all of us. Given the volume of reviews that RPR provides, then you can use a different review for every medium. Here's Steve Teitelbaum's Facebook page, and I love what he's done, which is to make patient comments make a very visible statement about his quality. And you could do this with a collage that would include printed reviews and star reviews. What we find is reviews that actually have star ratings are much more compelling. But use a curation from different sources. It's very exciting to me to see the use of reviews being done in this way. All right. I always like to learn from the big brands. So if you think about any shopping experience, you almost always find reviews at this point. And that is because reviews are proven to increase conversions. The smallest increase I've seen touted on consumer sites is an 18% increase in buy behavior, and I've seen a study that says there's up to as much as a 54% increase in buying behavior on beauty product sites. So Lancome has stopped telling you their story, and they have started letting their customers tell other customers what they like about their product. With non-surgical reviews, you can do an e-blast like Lancome, and this could be a Botox special with Botox reviews and your pricing. And those, the data on increase in e-blast click-throughs is as much as 163% when reviews are included in an e-blast. And here is a practice e-blast using that review strategy, and so it just shows you the power and how much more interesting an e-blast is when reviews are added. Adding reviews to retargeting campaigns also increases consumer response by up to 35%. Retargeting has been around for a while, but it is really affordable and available to most of you. Remember how surprised you were when the first ad followed you to another site? Maybe you thought it was good, maybe you thought it was creepy, maybe you thought it was hard sell, but for businesses using this particular tactic, it does have efficacy. And we think that it will have even greater support to a campaign that you're doing by including review content as a part of the retargeting, your retargeting ads. We couldn't find specific data about the increased use of reviews in print media, but it simply follows that if they have this big uptick in conversions in all other forms of media, that they would have it for print media as well. We are currently in the middle of 2 Best of San Diego campaigns. We launched a medical spa in 2013 and won the Best Medical Spa in 2014. And so we are now going into the second campaign for our medical spa. And as you can see, I added patient satisfaction data. And these are used in billboards, they were used in digital ads and in print ads. So the look was the same for consistency. And the spa has, it's reporting here, 233 ratings and 96.6 patient satisfaction. And we developed the spa product last fall, and I added it to my practice in November, so about 5 months ago. This is the equivalent ad billboard for our cosmetic surgery group. I always love Best of campaigns because they let the consumer speak for your practice. And this year, we've been a 6 times winner of this award, And so we decided to add what our overall score is. So I took the prorated average from Google+, Yelp, Real Patient Ratings, Real Self, and Vitals. And so we have 4.7 overall score on 1,131 ratings. Very, very supportive to why someone should nominate us or vote for us for best cosmetic practice, surgical practice. Now, this is just showing you another way to use ratings and reviews in your marketing. And we had a new a doctor join our practice, and in his former city, which is about 20 miles from here, the doctor who took over his former location was telling patients who came in, "Where's Dr. Wheeler?" "Oh, he retired." And so we decided we're going to come back at you, and we put up 2 billboards very near to his former location, announcing that he'd moved, inviting them to come and visit, and then to give his overall rating. And he did not have Google Plus or Real Self ratings, so we used the ratings that were available. But the result has been many calls for him, a number of surgeries booked as a result of letting his patients know where he was, despite extensive campaigns prior to that to hopefully let everyone know. Now, my favorite part of review tactics relates to what you put on your own website. I have a huge bias about driving traffic to my personal website rather than someone else's website, and about providing content for my own website rather than providing content for someone else's website. I want to build equity in my own site, not help other people build equity for their sites. And so here's several examples. This is the same practice, and they had made a little area where they're saying proud of reviews, and they're quoting reviews on third-party sites. And then they became members through our spa program, and so now their medical esthetician, in addition to the description of her, has ratings right there on the site of patient comments about her, as well as an aggregate score and aggregate rating for all reviews that have been received on her behalf. And the Medspa providers are just love this and the validation of their quality. And as an owner of a Medspa, I didn't really have significant doubts about what was happening to my patients when behind those closed doors, but I now know for certain exactly what's happening, and this is another great benefit of doing ratings and reviews. So this is looking at adding reviews to the procedure pages on your site. And I have done this all over our site. And so you can see this, we just took this picture this morning. We have 3 recent reviews within the last 2 weeks for Botox. And if someone is trying to consider us for Botox, then we're giving them information. And you might say here, price for Botox wasn't very competitive, could have been lower. Now I have the option on my site of deciding what is displayed or what is not displayed. But I know the Stanford study that says that you need some negatives to make the positives believable. And so for me, I have a reason why my Botox is the price that it is, and yes, it's going to be lower in a strip mall, but they're not going to get the safety or patient experience they're going to get in our practice. I can tell you also that once we had reviews all over our website for providers and procedures in the subsequent 12 months, on 3% more unique visitors, we had 86% more contact forms completed. So this confirms to me that we are meeting consumer needs and they are responding to our transparency and our willingness to provide social proof about the quality of our practice. I also want to suggest that you think of reviews when you're doing correspondence. So how can you amplify the impact of reviews every day? Put something about your practice quality in an autoresponder where the patient's going to have to wait till the next day or perhaps even the next business day in order to have a response. Add them to your email signatures. Dr. Furness and Dr. Canales in Northern California put the RPR widget, review widget, right in their email signatures to help consumers see their quality. And send links out via email pre-consult when people write to us asking for information. We obviously try to get them to make an appointment, but we can respond with links about the procedure, links about the provider, and about our overall quality. And we use them in text messages to confirm appointments. And my favorite thing that I heard from a patient who came in having read reviews said, I feel like I know you already. And what can be a better response to preparing a patient to come to your practice? Now, this is data from our extensive surveying of cosmetic surgery patients, and what it showed was that patients who did not see reviews prior to a consult, a surgical consult, were 27% less likely to schedule than those who received printed brochures plus reviews. And the key here, I think, is getting those reviews, being absolutely certain that the patient has seen your reviews prior to coming for consult. And if we apply this to the Medspa side, where perhaps our conversion rates are 80%, only leaving 20% of patients who don't book as a result of a consult, we can still use this information to increase our capture rate on that last 20%, pick up at least 6 or 7% in overall conversion rate. And so well worth the effort. Now, this is looking at a different number. This is looking at patients who read reviews. 41% more often were likely to schedule than people who did not receive any materials. So here with patient testimonials, scheduled procedure at consult, where 55%, were only 39% scheduled of those patients who did not receive any forms, materials, or testimonials. Now, having reviews on your website, this is just another example of the effect. And here is someone who came on curious about your Botox injections costs and had decided she was going to change providers. And she said, my other plastic surgeon is in the same office park, which I drive by every day. So I looked up your website and read some online reviews. And she wants to have an appointment as soon as possible. And this is with a surgeon who has reviews on every page of his website. Now, you're going to get some negative reviews, and indeed they're as valuable or more valuable in improving your brand quality than all the affirmation. And so these are some actual reviews from my practice. Everyone was amazing. She had amazing reviews. The only reason I'm not doing the procedure right now is financially I'm not able to. If they offered a payment plan other than Care Credit, I would be on the calendar right now. So what does that tell you? She was denied by Care Credit. And so what I did with this information was simply added another credit provider, and I signed up with Alpheon Credit, who tells me that my conversion approval rate is going to be about 13 points higher, at least 13 points higher, which would be about 25% higher. So price for Botox wasn't competitive. I've explained that. That's the strategy of our pricing, and so I hear her, but other than having a Glam Fam, which is a membership with lower pricing, I don't have an alternative for her. And then lastly, the parking situation is absolutely horrible. It is so bad it will discourage me from returning. We are on the campus of a very large hospital. They determine the parking. And other than sending reviews, which I just did, to the parking powers that be, there is little that I can do to solve parking problems. We have improved our instructions to patients. We tell them our parking secrets, and that helps assuage it somewhat. But we simply prepare them that they need to allow time because of the parking in this very busy medical center. So let's recap. If you're thinking about marketing with reviews and ratings, what are the benefits of doing so? Adding to social, 78% increase in buy now behavior. Add reviews to eBlast, 193% increase in click-throughs. Put review in ads, 35% increase in click-throughs. Add to your website. Here, Bizarre Voice is saying on major consumer sites a 79% increase in conversion, while, as I told you, what I found on my own site was an 86% increase. Now I just want to close with letting the patients speak for themselves. I am so glad that others had submitted reviews, because that was the sole reason that I chose to see him for a consultation out of anyone else. And she went on to say in this review, that she then never had another consult with anyone else. And here's another one. After reading other patient reviews and going through the website and looking at before and after pictures, she decided to take action. So are you ready to use dependable, authenticated patient feedback to market and grow your business? And we will now have a Q&A.
Thank you. I have one question for you already, and I just want to encourage everyone who's listening to ask us anything related to reviews or not related to reviews. It's 2:30, and so if you have time to stay for Q&A, we'll answer any questions that you have. The first one that I have for you, Marie, is how often do you discuss the reviews with your staff?
Well, the way it works with Real Patient Ratings is every time a review is received, I receive an email. And I have an all-staff list that includes employees and physicians and our anesthesiologists, and there are 41 people in that eBlast group. And so I forward every email to everybody, and I comment on the rating and something specific in the rating. So they are looking at reviews daily or multiple times in a week, knowing our patients are happy. When we get a negative review, we're divided into teams, a doctor and nurse, and then I share that negative review only with that team because they're the ones who need to use that information to make themselves better. And I certainly don't want to embarrass them in front of the whole group.
Great. Next question is, how much of your marketing budget is dedicated to promoting your medical spa? How do you calculate that?
It's extremely hard to calculate it because the medical spa does about 20% of our revenue, and it's less than 2 years old, and it's growing exponentially. And so there was a great deal of money, time and money spent to get that section of our website set up, and out of all proportion to their ability to produce revenue initially. I try to keep our practice marketing budget at 4% of revenue. And so it's hard to keep the med spa at that level when we're trying to grow it. And so I would say we probably spend closer to 10% of revenue on that segment of our business. But, you know, it's growing at 50% a month right now, and which I attribute to the impact of the reviews moving into that segment of our site.
Mm-hmm. Okay. The next question is, how many reviews per month would be considered great? Like if one practice got 10 reviews a month, is that good, average, or great?
Well, the easiest way to figure is on the percent of invitations sent. So Eva, if you would, I think on surgical we get about an 18% response, or 18 to 30% depending on the practice, and the med spa responses are higher than that. Mm-hmm. So Eva, what does that range run?
I think inside real patient ratings in non-surgical we get about 30% response rate, and then about 80% of those. So overall I think about 20% will give you permission to put their review online of the total, and then another
right.
10% will keep their feedback to you private. But I also want to address the percentage of people who will write a review on the other sites, which is completely different. So if you're talking about Google Plus or Yelp or anywhere where they have to disclose their identity and they may or may not trust the place where they're contributing the review, that we've talked about this a lot and we don't have a firm number, but I think that less than 3% of patients will break their anonymity to put a review online.
I think it's far less than that, because I look at our surgical practice and we're doing 1,200 cases a year, and we don't have, I think we might now have 50 Yelp reviews but a lot of added since the med spa, because people are happy to talk in public about a med spa treatment.
Yeah. I think that speaks to the problem of statistical validity really well too, because you can't expect 40 patients to represent the quality of your practice, which has had tens of thousands of patients over the years, and it's just such a huge, painful issue for people. Let's see what's next. There's a lot of questions coming in here.
Okay.
Yes, the next one is one of the ones we struggle with all the time. Is, do you have some suggestions on how we can go about getting our patients to write reviews? Our patients are sent links via email, but follow through is not as great as we would like it to be. Are incentives a good way to do that? So there's a couple things in there.
Okay, now I actually forgot to include a picture. I went to the dentist and the dermatologist in this 9-story medical building. Both of them had something on their counter saying, give us a Yelp review and we'll give you a Starbucks card. Now, unfortunately, technically, that is a violation of Google's guidelines. You're not allowed to pay for to incent reviews. So I do think even having real patient ratings, we continue to ask our patients to go post on Google+, which we have found to be statistically produce the most accurate rating, closest to the verified review ratings. We're only 0.2, 20% of 1 point, whatever that is, off. But you can't, since it's so hard to get patients to do it, this is why I really came to creating real patient ratings, because our practice was a C+ on Yelp. I knew it wasn't a C+. You know, it's a high A in reality once we actually get to ask our real patients. And that's the story I want to tell to the public.
Mm-hmm. Asking is definitely the most powerful way, and asking at the right time. And I definitely see advantage to asking outside of the office, meaning ask by email or ask by phone, but don't have them write reviews inside the office, because there's a myriad of issues when they're writing a review while they're sitting in front of you. One is that they're not going to be objective. Two is you have a whole bunch of other activities going on, and you probably don't have time. If you're busy, you don't have time to add another activity to that patient process of being physically in the office for an appointment. And then there's a lot of issues around all the reviews coming from the same IP address, which is one of the next questions that we have is it okay to get multiple reviews from the same IP? And it absolutely is not okay. Anything that is construed as not getting objective feedback, if Google or Yelp or anybody is looking at the way reviews come in for a certain business and something looks fishy, they're just going to take them down. They're not even going to warn you. They're just going to go away and be gone. My own dentist has a great incentive, and they're not giving anybody anything. They do a drawing every week for a Sonicare toothbrush. And so one of the ideas I had that works pretty well, and I don't think there's any ethical issues, stop me if there are, Marie.
I don't believe so.
You could do a drawing for a free box of Latisse or a free package of skincare every week if someone writes a review,
or once a month, depending on your size,
or once a month, depending on the sites that you want. If you want Yelp, RealSelf, and Google, then and you're monitoring, then they don't have to do anything except go home and write a review, and you'll enter them in the drawing. So I think that one's okay, and I've seen that one work pretty well. Let's see. I think that's about it. It's 2:40. We have time for more questions if anybody's out there. We still have quite a lot of people listening to us, so there must be more questions out there that we can answer. It's now's your chance. Otherwise, I think we can wrap it up for today, and certainly we're available for more questions if you want to just reach out to us individually. And the recording will be ready tomorrow morning, and I'll send that out to anyone who requests it. So thanks, everybody. Have a great afternoon, and we'll see you next time.